What this? Hello? Who
Hello.
dat?
Hello.
What's that?
It's me.
What's that? What happened?
This girl's undercut went too far, guys. This is what happens when you go too far with your undercut. You just
Oh,
lose it
no.
all.
No.
You have no makeup skill. You need to learn all it again.
No, Kells is at the theater. Just left me. Aww. Thank you.
She's left poor Blue with me, which surely isn't something that's going to make anything bad happen to Blue.
Ow.
There it is. Da 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 da.
I can do this by myself, you know.
You
I just
could, but
I
would it be anywhere
choose
near
not
as fun?
to.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll give you more flowers.
No.
Well, if it needs clipping, honey, get on it.
Yeah, there's a button or a command or something slash clip. I don't know. I have a button because I'm the one who's moderating.
Yeah. Alt X usually gets it, but there's usually a button for it too.
So hello, frog.
Getting the clip ready.
There we go. I'm also on this. Oh, what? I'm exhausted. That's fair. Well, this is chill time. This is our weekly chill time. Just get to vibe the music and silly shenanigans as we obsess over our characters.
Yeah.
Before I get into that, wrist warm up.
That's right. Ooh, my fingies just did a good crack.
Oh dear.
Ah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Now then.
So share with the class what is happening in World DAS that we're okay to know. Because you've not been on the stream for a very long time.
I haven't, no, and as you can tell by having a small loyalty in the distant background over there, I am not at the home that I've been at previously.
Yeah, that was the giveaway, not the bookshelf or the wall or the lack of posters or the other computer. No, it was it was or the gorgeous, lovely frog that is residing.
She does.
Predicts it! Yeah!
She was. No, I mean that she was a. Here's the problem. She has the hallway dark, so she was just there, just like slightly silhouetted. Like, I'm gonna have to fuck something at her. Yeah, calculator.
The clip of Das being jump scared. It's like that one of Spook being jump scared by his mum.
Yeah, except I saw her at the corner of my eye.
But yeah.
But yeah, I'm over here. I'm over here for 2 more weeks. A big test trial more than anything else to see how we can actually do it. We're doing okay so far.
I'd say it seems like it's going really well. Yippee!
You reckon?
Yippee!
I'll leave you with Titania. Well, I'll leave you back with Titania. I'm being stared at now. No, you won't hit your son though. You only give him traumatic backstory, but you won't hit him. No, don't take Trudane, no!
Works
Stole
both
my
ways,
rabbit.
bitch.
Stole my rabbit. I'm surprised you reached over Thane. It's like Thane was right there. Back off, I can hear you come back. Don't you dare here, I'll exchange deer for rabbit. Prisoner
Here for
exchange.
a
Come here.
rabbit.
Prisoner exchange. There we go.
Adorable.
Yeah. Because
Aw.
Stacey is wonderful at crocheting and knitting, so And in the background there, it was making 2 dolls for her nieces, which are adorable. But has done my Cubone, has done a gelatinous
A sub
friend.
from the gelatinous friend. Thank you, thank you.
That's
37 months! What the heck, Rooney?
Maybe 7. We do in fact be 7.
Oh heck.
Ooh, my clip finished. I'm gonna leave this here. No, don't inspect the details. No good.
There we go.
And then an oval.
What have we got? Lucky Wild Pickle Panic. That's an amazing name. Twitch truly be coming up with absolutely god tier names for the clips.
Yeah, good for that. Yeah, aside from that, work's been going fine. I'm looking at getting further education for certain projects and such, which are all good to do.
Tight.
So far, everything's going great. Doing great over here, honestly.
Sick.
All doing good. Oh, goodness, sorry. Not gonna say it because not for me.
I'm being bombarded.
That's fair. Anyway, Frog had some good news today, so we ran into Cardiff and got some from a place called Slim Chicken. We just had a nice bit of nuns from there. I love that fucking place because I don't mind saying its name because it's great. It's actually a really nice place for fried chicken inside in Cardiff Central. So if you're ever in, go. And then we legged it back because we're like, okay, finish it. Okay, we finished at about 6:30, up and go.
Yeah.
Because we got back in, we're all good, cleaned up and everything else. Aside from that, like the obvious one as well is that I've gotten an undercut, which isn't much for many people, but for me,
hell yeah.
For those who don't know, I have family that are very strict on hairstyling.
Yeah, this is basically the first time that you've been able to do something with your hair that you want to.
Correct.
So.
Correct. So this is a big thing, and
yeah.
It's and also the frog has just been obsessed with it. Like the entire first day of it has just been like touch.
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't even had an undercut, but I'm that weird person that, of course, I asked first, but when Curls had her undercut, I kept touching hers.
Yeah.
Obviously, I asked first, but I kept touching it.
That's my partner. My partner gets to just go touch. You know, the frog gets to do this for free.
Yeah.
But like other people, it's very important to check first. If you know your partner is comfortable with it, that's all good. But if not, then just yeah. But yeah, that's the minor stuff. We've been having a lot of D&D lately, which has been great. We're going to take 1 week's break.
Yeah, we're having a week break from D&D, so there won't be a D&D stream tomorrow. I might do a makeup stream for it. I haven't decided yet. So usual shenaniganry of hey, maybe follow me here and on Twitter, and I'll tweet out if I do. But yeah.
Yeah.
But otherwise, lots of D&D occurring.
Yes, and the ending of the arc of you guys taking on Rast in Plight of Princes, which didn't really involve you guys as yourselves seeking him out or anything else. You guys finding the spires of Lakith from my setting, and he's dead. He is straight up dead.
Yeah.
And whatever ramifications happen of that. But this week we had a lot of fun, which as the player, I'd love to hear what you say from your side on this matter.
Oh my god, like, how do we... It was such an interesting exercise in not metagaming. Just the instant of being like, we've already said we're going to long rest. Hello, Cole. We've already said we're going to long rest. And he's going off to do something else, and then, like, all the nonsense occurs, and it's like, we said we were gonna long rest, so we can't do anything, we just gotta fall asleep, even though we know that danger is right there. And we were just like, no, we said we were gonna fall asleep, we're exhausted, we don't know it's there, we're just gonna go sleep. And then even after we've woken up, we're still just painfully trying to be like, oh, we're just gonna, like, look out the window, talk amongst ourselves. We don't know that there's danger right around the corner. And then
Yes,
of course they're just like huge 180 of entering a room that's literally just a murder scene. Is just like, when's it gonna stop?
Well, this was what I found very interesting because even up until the moment that door opened, I was hesitant on whether or not I would actually do it. So for those who didn't watch, by the way, you should watch. It's going to be done on Here's. It's got its VODs as well on
The VODs
YouTube.
are live. You can watch them all now.
Yeah.
It's down in the doobly-doo below in the description. There's a link right there that says YouTube VODs. Oh, yeah. Promote. We're doing so much promotion today. Goddamn.
Yeah, it's very important to do those things to set it all up. And I'm definitely not also going to post a link.
I'm such a heckin' streamer.
Definitely not going to post a link directly to it, which has nearly everything applied to Princes on it and stuff from other campaigns that we've run. But essentially, the party had a simulacrum of a former player. So the player, he's now playing a cleric. But in the previous campaign, he played a wizard. So this high-level wizard had a simulacrum of himself. The simulacrum helped the party out. This, of course, gave them access to incredibly high-level spells, but the catch was that they were limited on anything they could do. They could, if they rested, didn't matter. They didn't get those spells back.
Yes, it was very much a one-time use on both health and spells. There was a slight caveat at one point where we got a few spells back, but that was highly specific and very unorthodox, and probably will not occur again. So it's not worth going into details about it now.
Well, yeah, like that, but that's the idea about the simulacrum, was that it was super useful to have, and it helped for a lot of these things. For example, it did change itself into a planetar.
Yes,
allowed everyone to realize that. Oh yeah, clutch choice of planetar, because planetars in D&D, like some other celestials, can tell when they're being lied to. They can understand whether or not the player makes a deception check or not, that it is a falsehood.
Yeah, which was pretty handy considering we went into, you know, a lair with a demon lord that was all about, like, you know, deception and manipulation and all that jazz.
Manipulation and seduction.
Yeah, so to literally be able to have a player just go, actually no, was so amazing and hilarious, and your face was so funny.
yeah.
Just like, I have perfectly countered your plan, DM.
Yeah. Like, I couldn't help but look at it and say, well, this just means now that one of the things have been broken, but I gave you guys the opportunity to play with a high-level toy. I should fully well expect you're going to pull something crazy out, especially when it's in the hands of Kay.
Oh, yeah, incredibly smart and strategic in that way.
So it helped out majorly with some encounters, but when all the party members went to sleep last session, the simulacrum, the player had told me previously, was going to attempt to dispel itself out of guilt for what it had nearly done to some of the players. This, of course, a very heavy thing. It goes to another room to do it in, so that, because these are all a bunch of lovable idiots who will immediately look at this and go, no, we can't let that happen.
Yes.
Goes to another room, closes the door. Perception check is made by the one player that was present and awake at the time, didn't notice anything on his watch. The door closed, and sitting in the chair of the Archmage Crowan, who is an Archmage of the Harpers, and in my setting, one of several powerful Archmage, who
I love how different your Crowan is to my Crowan. My Crowan is just like a dude in his late 20s with like 50 pet cats.
Your Crowan is a wish fulfillment of just getting to live in with 6.
Look, maybe I do just want to live in a mage tower with gremlins. Hello. Not the face.
We were just speaking about cats, and there's one shoved in your face.
Are you going to bed? Okay. So you have deposited a child upon me. Okay, child. She had chicken. Bit of special.
Lovely.
Special.
What's the occasion for Chimkin?
So hungry.
But we just had some chicken. Mwah.
Fair enough.
There was a bit left over. Yeah.
That's
We're doing the thing. Oh, she wants to go with you so bad. She's like, "No, screw you, Mum. I don't want to be with you. I want to go with Dad."
The father is going to be in the warm snuggle place. How
Yeah.
dare you restrain me?
One of the things that we just do every now and then because of the cost of living is we buy a whole chicken and just cook that up and dice up the meat, because that's like 2 or 3 nights worth of meals from a single chicken, which is a lot cheaper than buying 3 nights worth of meals, because a single chicken generally could be like 4 or 5 quid depending on the size of chicken that you go for. But if you go to like a lot of places when they're like, oh, you can get 2 meals for £7, and it's like, it's just, this is cheaper. So yesterday we cooked up the chicken and had like a roast dinner, and then today we had some of the leftover chicken, and there was a bit left, and I was like, well, not reheating it a 3rd time. So
that would be pushing it, I think.
Yeah. So not reheating it a 2nd time, I should say. It's been cooked once, reheated once. The stuff that was left over, I let Sadie have, but we've still got some, because I portioned it out. There's still some chicken that hasn't been reheated.
It hasn't been reheated yet.
For tomorrow. So again 3 days worth of food. Little tip. It's good. Ow! I kept saying the air fryer for the first time as well, rather than using the ovens.
Hey, oh, you got an air fryer.
We're being lent one to be like, oh, you can have a try with it and see if you want one, and we're already like, yeah, we want one.
Yeah, everyone thinks, do I need an air fryer? Then they get one, and they realize how fucking handy it is. Is it a 2-slot or a 1-slot?
It's just a 1-slot, but it's a big one, so it fit the entire chicken.
Yeah, the 2 slots I have, you can just like get enough for like say one meal between myself and her, like of a roast, like a Sunday roast in one side, spuds in another, sorted.
Yeah, as I did mash on the hob. But again, it's just one of those things that was talked about because of the cost of living and the energy situation that obviously that we're going through at the moment, which is that our oven is kind of crap and has a very bad seal. So we have to spend like half an hour for it to heat up, and then it's like another half hour to heat food, or in the case of a chicken, it's then another hour to cook the chicken. So it's been on for an hour and a half. It's just a lot of energy. Whereas air fryers, because they're so much smaller and condensed, they can be on, and you only have to heat them up for maybe like 5 minutes, if that, and you can just whack the food in, and it's good. Because I've never cooked chicken in an air fryer before, I do also own a temperature probe, which is a great thing to buy if you don't have one, because I was just like, I've never cooked in an air fryer before.
Just in case, shunk.
Yeah, I don't know if this is done. Just stick that bad boy in. It's like, yep, this is fucking good. This is delicious, and shredded it apart, and that's food for 3 days. That only costs like 4 quid, so it's like great.
Aside from us very, very heavily advertising air fryers for obvious reasons, they're good. To go back to D&D.
Yes.
The seat of Crowan was sat in by Vlakith, who had turned around to see the simulacrum had appeared, commented on the fact that it was a simulacrum, and said, "You'll do as a warning." Got up, and as she did, Varus, the fake Varus, the simulacrum, ran for the door to try and warn the party and was dusted. And the party then learned the night after, or the morning after, that she basically destroyed the golem. And in addition, because one of the things, essentially, I don't mind saying it now because they're all fucking dead. One thing the Archmages had was a gargantuan shield guardian. The kind where if you have an amulet attached to it, every time you get hit, the guardian takes it instead. He was massive. And his premise was, if you were in that room and one of the Archmages, he took the hits for you, and he's also the equivalent of having a stone giant, but with just jacked health. Can't move, no dex, but that's the benefit, is that he's just a sack of hit points. So the thing that wizards suffer from the most, they don't have to worry about when they're in the center point. So Vlakith destroys that, and then proceeds to summon in all the wizards, one by one, but does it so efficiently that she's got one dead before the next one arrives in. And what Vlakith does that's quite nasty is that she basically uses people's souls in an hourglass. She traps them, like in a proper like Sand of Time hourglass, traps a bunch of them in there, and whatever she chooses to use them later for, she does, as she's a lich, and they tend to have a habit of harvesting souls.
Yes.
this was
path of the
up on-
course.
Yeah, yeah. She got to do something. You know, she also needs to be fueled. This was until Legacy stepped into it. The Glory's mother from the previous campaign, Glory being Curls' character,
Yes.
arrived in, and she's basically the evocation archmage, in that blunt force magic of just all these other people can, like, they can break the world's most advanced lock on a system, they can divine the most, like, secretive knowledge, they can conjure damn near anything, or they can work with necromantic magic like no one's business. Legacy was the nuke, was the pinnacle, is the pinnacle of damage for them. And basically, the way I described it was that it's like, because one of the players had Grim Psychometry, a Blood Hunter ability.
Yes.
And how recent an event was, and how severe the event was in the space of the world, the DC of it is higher or lower. So if it's very recent and very important, or very, very grim or dark, the DC is much lower. It's much easier to find the information. If it was just a
Is that what you?
person-
Is that what you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's how I kind of rule it, where it's like,
Yeah, because it doesn't
how
say that in the
messy is
ability, but that's a
scene?
cool way to
No.
rule it, actually.
Yeah, because I look at it and I say, well, okay, well, is it just like a guy getting murdered in an alley? No effect on the world, just one soul gone. Like, let's just say a civilian, like a commoner.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Continue.
Like that's where the premise of it pulls into for the higher side of the DC. But these were all major things. So the Blood Hunter of the party, I basically gave them like what the equivalent was, like a fuzzy camera in the corner, watching everything happen, and how she just stepped through, cutting them all down. And she, when you guys looked at the bodies later, it was like slits right at the voice box.
Yes, you said.
Like, she is pinpoint on, these are all mages, done, 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 done. Then Legacy came in, and it's basically like a bomb went off, and you know where in a film where the bomb goes off and the CCTV cuts, like that of the Grim Psychometry, until they found the Phoenix egg in the corner. That's where Kika basically, to describe the areas, well, like, I decided to do it where it was like, well, how did she able to do this? How have they not been able to react with any magic? Dead magic. She just kills magic in the room.
Yeah.
Whatever she did, not explaining those rules, of course, but whatever she did killed magic in the room. Made it like a radioactive space in regards to, like...
Well, the almost the opposite of that. It's the people who know D&D, look at the freaking anti-magic spell and have a vague idea of what it was.
Yeah. It's a good idea of it, like, but
I know it's not that. I know it's not that exactly. That's why I'm saying it's just look at that, and you'll
that's
get
a good example.
You'll get the gist of it. You know, if you want a point of comparison.
Most of these guys would have actually been able to kind of pull something out of an anti-magic zone, because it's like just from themselves, like they're not pulling from the weed. They got a tool or something. They got some sort of source of magic that might get them a little bit of juice. They just got nothing. But when Kika, this insanely magically charged character, entered this place, like literal star magic dusting off of her, touched the Phoenix egg in the corner, out popped Legacy. Because Legacy had a tattoo on her back, which is like magic tattoos. They have got really heavily emphasized. I drew an inspiration from Moana years and years and years ago when I saw it, where the grandmother's
the manta ray
tattoo.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Except I was like, no, but a phoenix. Because I've thought about other characters like Merrick also having this. Because of course I like my high end power.
You have a type. That's okay. People are allowed to have types, and people are allowed to have tropes they like. I'm a prime example of that.
Dad characters and fucking everything else that's involved with it, like. But she came out and she shook. So this is my way of. The frog is giving you tipping.
Tip with Wilmots, you're aiming for equal spacing, a straight line as possible with that extra is warming up the coordination. I'm mainly just warming up my shoulder rather than my coordination. That's what those circles are for.
Yeah, but that might also be like, just like a bunch of squares of the same proportion, copy paste them out and try to get the lines to match them all as you go. Maybe? Yeah. I don't know. So Legacy gets up and Legacy's shook. Because of course she is. All of her best friends died, and she did nothing. She couldn't save any of them. Like a lot of her best friends are now dead. Um, so the party is now in Everland, and now trying to decide their next step. Whilst they're doing this, the defenders of Faerun, which are the last campaign's characters, are now on their way to encounter Cloth, Old Snarl, the most powerful red dragon in Faerun, and he destroyed the city of Mirabar. Whilst just being within a mile of him, some of them who could speak Draconic heard the word traitor roared in their mind.
Yeah, and I was just like, what the fuck? And then it was like, we gotta end the session now. I was like, cool, okay, thanks, bye!
Because
the meta gaming of like, oh god, I know so much because Spook loves the Gith so much, and I'm just like, nope, shutting up, put pencil in mouth, shut.
Also, the fun part about the Gith as a villain is that it's been a while since we've gotten really good concrete Gith information. Like, Baldur's Gate gave us the idea of a creche, and like explaining how Gith, it gets mentioned loosely. It's just a concept.
Yeah, basically, basically people don't age on the astral plane, and that's where they live. So it's like
to age, and then they.
Otherwise, you're just gonna have a plane full of babies, and that's not helpful.
Yeah, exactly. So they come to a material plane to age, and then they go back. This is why you can also have Gith, who could be in their 20s but have lived thousands of years by the process of waking up and continuing on a day, like doing that so many times that they could be ancient. It's why, for example, like Lakith doesn't need to be a lich in your setting to live thousands of years.
Yeah.
It makes it easy, or it makes it like an easy getaway, like just in case you want to change that ruling. But she's basically she's like Tiamat in that way of like, if you think of an evil dragon, there's always going to be the Tiamat that they answer to. But this was my way in the narrative of, I looked at all of the things like the Lord's Alliance and the Defenders of the Forests and the Zentarum and the Order of the Gauntlet and the Harpers, and I looked at it and said, well, which one of these would pose a threat to Vlikith? That would be Moongleam Tower. How would she go about getting rid of the one thing that is an actual consistent threat? Because having a bunch of people who can throw 8-level spells into the mix is going to be annoying, especially if you all fuckers started to organize them. The Order of the Gauntlet and Lord's Alliance and the Harpers and even the Zentarum, if they joined in, like, they would be really frustrating to deal with because the Harpers have that high level magic. So she just went, taking out Moongleam Tower, so now you can't use it for teleportation. Taken out all the superpowers and shown the rest of Faerun and the rest of the world at large what happens when you get too close to messing with her plans at a mortal level. Stay the fuck out of it kind of thing. Which I really enjoyed, and like, even as I said earlier, I was thinking this entire time, do I do it? Do I have her do it? And everyone who I've even posed that question remotely to have said absolutely. It makes perfect sense that she would do it. She's an incredibly intelligent character, and they're the highest risk that she could probably take out. The only thing that will make more sense for her to do is like let you guys and Cloth fight and swoop in and just finish off whoever she has to at the end. That would also make a lot of sense. But like those are the examples of things of like, she's an intelligent character. These are intelligent things she would do. So it's fun to like same time go, oh, am I metagaming? And then I go, I'm playing a character who's incredibly intelligent and has a lot of ability to gain knowledge. I can rationalize any major action. Like 9 times out of 10 I can make a major action work just by the fact that of course she fucking knows she's Lakith. Right, I'm actually going to...
It all checks, yeah?
Yeah, sorry, I kind of just went blah blah blah.
You basically did the recap that you won't be doing tomorrow.
Basically. Which is fine. But yeah, it also gives me a week now to do a little bit more prep before we do pop again.
Yes.
Which is fine. Because I'm going to try and, like, because I don't know if you guys are going to go to Mirabar or if you're going to go after Cloth. like which way you're going to go. Like you might go to Mirabar, find out if there's anything left.
Yeah, there's a chance we will. I know that the heroes are particularly aggro, and I know that Kay is especially would love to have at Cloth, but obviously we have got a couple of voices of reason within the party who will probably voice their opinion that we should go check on Mirabar, especially since Cloth is apparently not happy with the gift, because that's something that we can just sort of be like, Corb, carry on, bud. Yep, do you destroy some of those? Doing us a favour.
if you look at that and have the sudden realization of going, now what if we could aim this anger?
Yeah, it's like, we don't like you, but also we really don't like them, and they're literally threatening the entirety of existence. So go
what
on.
happens when you have this ancient, old, super powerful mage dragon and someone's betrayed him? That's unhealthy. That's fucking unhealthy.
I mean, I can't voice things because it's meta knowledge that I know, which is I mean, I'm fine to talk about it out of character because I can talk about it, but I don't want to talk about things that people in the chat may not know, because I have meta knowledge about things.
And you meta knowledge about Gith.
Yeah.
But like I'm not fussed to say it. Like, there's Gith ride dragons.
Yeah, that's known. That's known. I know why Gith ride dragons, which is why the implication of Koth shouting the word traitor at Gith is massive. Because, alright, spoiler alert: if they've betrayed Cloth, it means they've betrayed somebody bigger than him, which is a big ass implication in D&D terms.
Yes, well, Grass just got killed. Like, what makes you think that that's the only person she's targeted?
Someone's getting too big for their britches.
Or was trying to do multiple things at the same time, trying to see how much can I get out of one. Which, when you think about it, would make perfect sense to do, but I would have aimed for Asmodeus. It's like, take that bastard out before he has any moments to plan of what the fuck is happening. Because...
as well as infamously hard to get at, especially since another bit of ancient D&D lore, which isn't even in 5th edition books yet. So who even knows if it's technically canon in 5e, which is that
I think I know what you're talking about two serpents spinning around the world.
The reason that there is a bit at the deepest, darkest literal depth of hell is called the Serpent's Tail. There's a reason it's called that.
Yeah. You wouldn't be far off looking at that and going, is that in their setting? I was like, maybe. Because
we both watch Mr. Rex.
I may have also done more research after the fact of going, I need to find out more about it.
Yeah, that's when you just watch one of his videos and you just go, wait, what? Hold up, I gotta read this for myself.
Yeah. The only one of those, he hasn't done a video on false hydras yet, but I love the concept of a false hydra. Just, if we're talking about, cool monsters, I love a false hydra, and I really want that to be... I want whoever actually put that up.
Yeah, they have them in Fizzbands, don't they? They call them, Draco hydras or something, but they're not technically hydras.
I'm gonna check, but false hydras are they're both, terror.
Yeah, I haven't fully read it, but there is literally there's a dragon hydra thing in Fizzbands, but it's not actually a hydra.
It might not be a false hydra, because a false hydra is something very specific.
If it is, then okay. So that's the why I literally asked. I was like, is that the thing in Fizzbands? I don't know. There's a hydra-esque something in Fizzbands. Yeah, Draco Hydra.
No. Draco Hydras do exist.
Yeah, looks like a budget Tiamat.
Basically, if you want to fight a Tiamat without making your party fight a Tiamat, that's it.
Yeah, it's a Tiamat if Tiamat wasn't a god, because obviously part of the big problem with fighting Tiamat isn't that she's 5 dragons in one; it's that she's also a god, so she has all of the things that come alongside that. Whereas Draco Hydra is just that. It's just like, hey, it's just 5 dragons in one. It's awful, but it doesn't have divine resistance.
Yeah, it doesn't have just like it can't fail, you know, as like one of its things of like can't fail a skill check, can't do certain things.
Orb.
Yeah.
Orb.
Ponder.
Ponder. And then we destroy our artwork.
And
Because this is
and
a
then
war
it's
method.
itty bitty scar that it has.
It literally doesn't matter. Goodbye.
But no, the false Hydra blue is an aberration. It's a really like I don't mind talking about that because it's a fun monster when I first found it. Firstly, it's not an official monster. It's never been. It was made by a guy on the internet, and I legitimately just want Wizards to pay him a lump sum or pay him in like royalties and to take that concept. I want them to buy it from him because essentially it starts out as just like one thing. But to explain it out, like I could do narrative, but to explain it better is when it sings, you can't see it.
Sings.
Yes. And it only doesn't sing when it's feeding. So essentially it has like a mimetic memory kind of thing to it. Where when it sings, you can't see it. Like quite literally a deaf person can see it because you can't hear him. Or someone who like say might have like intellect fortress or something else also massive on them, like, you know, a like mind blank or intellect fortress, those kind of things that like your mind can't be fucked with, they could work. Or protection from good and evil, but that would only last for 10 minutes because that works against aberrations.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially someone or something, so like small animals at the start, get lured, like maybe down a sewer grate in a city, or down into a wine cellar of a bar or a tavern, and then the singing stops. As essentially, I'll describe it like a Kezu, except the Kezu had a human face on the end. With just, you know, Dark Souls, where like you've probably seen the serpents from Dark Souls that have the insanely massive teeth. Like they look like giant blocks of wood for teeth, and like they're not sharp; they're just like thick blocks. Essentially, it just grabs, devours, and pulls away. So it's incredibly long, and it like works in the deepest parts of the sewers of a city. The problem is that essentially the longer it exists, so the more it feeds and so on, the more its effects work, but also gains more heads. This is why it's called a false Hydra, because it gains multiple heads over time, but it isn't, which a Hydra is born with them all, but this is where it gets weird.
Right. Oh, I see.
Here's
Oh,
the
wow.
thing.
It looks like the thing that's at the bottom of the well of Legend of Zelda. I just googled false Hydra.
Oh,
Someone's fan made a 5e stat block for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of really, really good ideas, and that monster from Legend of Zelda was one of the inspos from it, which is great. But the thing about it is that
there's literally a picture of Kezu here.
yeah, as there should be,
Yeah, because that kind of pale, fleshy teeth. Yeah. Ow!
It is terrifying. But the point of it is, the thing that's nasty about it is that check.
I'm doing it.
Now, of course, I'm talking to you about it. I would use this in like a Halloween one-shot.
Yeah.
You could make an entire like short campaign about this monster. But I won't use it in 5e myself. Not out of like a thing of like, I really do want to use that monster one day. But the thing about the false Hydra that is nasty is that you have no recollection of any, like, so let's say John walks, like, you've known John all your life. He walks down to the tavern basement one day and he doesn't come in. Next time the monsters are singing, you forget who John is. John doesn't exist anymore. To you. Now, the problems, of course, come when it's a husband or a child that gets taken. It's like someone looks and goes, no, I have children's clothes in my house. Or that's my husband's clothes. Or why is there 2 rings here? I have one of these. Who has that other ring?
Yeah.
And the players, of course, when you guys arrive in the city, can also like wake up to notes in your own handwriting going, you have to remember. You have to remember stuff like that.
In Doctor
And
Who
the
and
nasty
this
part
shit.
about that is like if a false Hydra captures a party member, because suddenly it's like, give me your player sheet. None of you remember this character. You wake up the next day.
Well, that's just me. That's just mean.
Yeah, oh no, but like that's like if someone does something stupid in the city of a false Hydra, it is that kind of dangerous. Of like that player rolls to combat, escape or die, and if they die, they're forgotten. They're completely devoured and they're gone. But it goes from small, like tiny size, where it's eating like rodents and vermin, to small to medium, large, huge, gargantuan, and then titan. Where the more powerful it gets, so like when it gets to the point where it's too large to hide,
Right.
its powers of singing, because it now has multiple heads. Some of the heads can feed while the others keep singing. That's where it's dangerous. That's where it's fucking dangerous. Especially at that level. Now, it's very fair if like the party gain like an idea of it. Like an AoE zone of silence. Immediately. You all can't hear and you can see it then.
Ah!
That's where the problems arise. But its power can then begin to manipulate people. So if it can't survive where it is, it can get the townsfolk to literally create something for it to get on and they'll pull him, whilst he still feeds on them. Fully dominating their minds at that point. That's like the different CRs based on the different grade of it. It's a fantastic monster. It's a fantastically terrifying monster. It's great for a horror setting.
Oh,
it
yeah.
really is. And let's not pretend anything about it. Like, the thing that's immediately horrifying with that monster is that your character could be gone because they just won't remember you existed. Now, of course, there are things about it where, like, say, someone could be desperately trying to get you to leave the city. And when you do, you're no longer under its effects and you remember everything. You then remember, why am I forgetting certain details? Something is not right there. And, you know, that's where meta to player can begin buying in more. It's a really, really cool concept of a monster. Love it. Love it as a monster design. I myself won't use it because I don't believe I'll be able to accurately use it. Like, God help us all if Nemo ever runs a campaign. That motherfucker will use one.
He did try. Approaching frog.
Yes, she was eating bread and checking if I wanted to cook the steak that I've left out, but I can cook that steak tomorrow morning, basically, and I'll make a steak sandwich out of a lunch with it. Because I was going to have it today, but then we're like, no, we're going out to celebrate.
Yeah, we're going to eat out.
Yeah, but... Did you get me too? Love you.
Oh.
You don't have Mars bars handed to you. You can shut up.
No, I just get gremlins handed to me.
But yeah, I love that monster design. Because it brings up a lot of, like, questions that you wouldn't think of with your monster design. But I have like a vague idea of it because, of course, you guys, your characters, the setting, has now forgotten that grass exists.
Yes.
You're aware something powerful got killed there because you fought it. You already heard after it. It makes sense that you think that something powerful was killed there, but you're not sure of what it was or its origins. So, on your grade entity level, mortals, something got changed. Massive. So, that's something I find quite fun as well, because of course, that's going to terrify gods as well.
Yes.
Because, as you know, because you've had a bit of, like, look up on Orcus even. Orcus was killed. And, like, basically, entities like that can't get quote-unquote killed. They just get chucked to the astral sea until someone remembers them. and enough people remember them, eventually they'll come back together.
Yeah.
So like, even if that's what Grass is right now, by the fact that you guys can't remember who he is, means that that's been made really difficult for him. Or he's just gone. I feel like I want to keep the rules of like the boons that you guys could or couldn't get based on your roles being around an entity like that when it dies, because it's a creature of such magical like power, like a blast coming out of them, like as their death throes. It would make sense that it would affect everything around it.
Oh yeah, that's totally. Yeah, I really liked that.
I
know that obviously when it comes to the negative ones, it'll be a natural sort of instinct for us as a player to be like, how can we get rid of this?
Yeah, but also, how can you figure them out? Try to discern it, because then, let's say for example, something like this happens again. Not saying how or when, but if another powerful entity gets killed and you happen to be nearby it, whether or not you intended to kill it, you're nearby it when it dies. You could get rid of the grass effects and this effects, and then you have boons from both effects. So now you've gotten the powers and you've removed the negatives. So that's where those effects could tide over. So Blue, do you want to talk about Okar?
God,
Despite the fact...
it's D&D, you know, there's always something happening. I will, even though it's like literally the very end, I do find it so funny that we actually get to be in on shenaniganry this time with the whole like, right, well I'm gonna go take these people and go do a heist, and it's like, well, what if we play the NPCs? Then we can do the heist with you.
Yeah, that's going to be so much fun. For those who don't know, our wonderful, beloved friend Kay, who we all love very much, is a bastard. Sorry, my Coke wasn't opening. My kind of indiscriminate fizzy drink.
It's okay, we didn't pick it up. Discord's god tier noise suppression.
Oh my god, for it. Kay tends to do what we call 0.5s in Okar, where essentially, as the he's an artificer, but as the sneaky boy of the group, who tends to go off and do his shenaniganry, which Kay just loves to do anyway.
Yeah.
God help the world when he plays a rogue. God help the world.
I feel like anybody who knows Kay starts a new campaign and Kay's just like, I'm thinking of playing a rogue. The DM's just gonna go, no! Not allowed.
Or the DM is gonna be like Nemo and go, fine, do it. Where like, Nemo is like the Joker, where you'll like go, oh, you're playing a Curse of Strahd campaign? I'll bring my paladin. He's like, I want you to hit me. I want you to do it.
I want you to fucking do it. I want you to.
Yeah. Whereas Kay, he's a great shenanigans player. Again, anytime I get to be in a campaign with Kay, like my characters can be like, Salric, what are you doing? Or whichever it happens to be. But I trust Kay.
Oh, yeah.
That whatever he's going to do will be a net benefit. Or be incredibly funny. One or the other, but it will always be one of them.
Yeah, freaking, Asian's back.
Yeah.
You're just gonna, I'm grappling the monster, and he's just like, do you trust me? And I'm like, unfortunately, yes. Yeet self off, and then as we're, like, plummeting towards the ground, it's suddenly like, oh, wait, this won't work. And I'm just sitting there going, I fucking trusted you. You said you had a plan.
Yeah.
This better work.
And then Thane, get blinked out of, and just constantly, pop, pop.
Yeah, just like, I'm not a part of this, I'm just enjoying it.
Yeah. Just like Thane is just, wrapped around by, the reverse cock coil from Disney, where, it's usually, the coil going up, but with him, it's the coil going down, because that's Asian's tail wrapped around, and, just sat in there going, this is fine. And, Asian looks down and has that brief over, oh god, they're falling. Thane looks down, they're fine. He's got a plan.
We're just getting closer and closer to the ground, just like, how you said you have a plan? I'd very much like you to do it. This is Kay's there just sweating.
But for those who don't know, Kay's next plan is we're going to the city of Meganhold in
Yeah,
the Old setting.
we've just said we're going to do a heist. We're going to do a heist.
Yeah, stealing a bunch of super powerful magic items. That's basically the idea. If we can find anyone who's willing to throw down, like we break someone out of mage prison, who's like, hey, I hate the royalty and I hate what they've done to this world and I need to change. It's like, congratulations, you've been conscripted. In you get.
Yep.
Free mage, in you get. But also, any powerful magical items they have, we could get. But any magical items we could get from them, we're also denying the enemy from having. So it's like, ooh, give us that.
Yes.
Or it's like, why would we want the sword of manslaying? Like, and it's evil and it's cursed and it's corrupted. Why would we ever want this? Like, put it in a bag. Do not let Edmund get it. Don't let Eddie have it.
He doesn't need more swords. He has too many swords.
He has 3 already.
Too many swords.
Too many. Eddie doesn't need swords anymore. He probably won't need swords very soon, honestly. But yeah, essentially...
He's already thrown Tala through a wall once. He didn't even use a sword for that.
Oh, it's... I don't know if it's like some weird, like, stupid mongoloid brain of mine, or if it's just, like, the fightiness in my head of, like, I want someone who I can swing at, and he's not going to fall over, like we had with Edmund. Like, I don't know why, I really enjoyed that fight. And I want to have the rematch.
White Dragon Brain.
Yeah, it's my White Dragon Brain.
White Dragon Brain. Of course, you enjoyed the fight. That's what you do. Yeah.
Like, can I give you?
You make beefy boys, and you want to find the biggest wall that you can to throw at them.
And I want to see my boys go through it or bounce off, because it's either going to be hilarious or awesome. But that's the plan. While Tala and Thane go and we get and I'm mostly telling this to the stream so that they can like get excited because it's cool stuff. Thane and Tala are going to Tala's folks' home, which definitely didn't prompt a reaction, did it, Blue?
Hey, I'm fine with you saying it a reaction. I know it's not been blatantly said in character, so I feel like I will clarify it now. The reaction was they're not her parents. I don't know if that was made clear enough because it's not something Tala talks about. So for you to refer to them as her parents was really upsetting.
No, he said her folks. Her folks.
Folks means parents.
Well, not exactly. Like, you could say like your folks is your family. Like, that's kind of what they was aiming at. Well, in that way of they're part of your family, the people you care about. But
that's a misinterpretation thing. In my brain, if someone says your folks, that means your parents.
Yeah, which
is why she was. Yeah, even the reason I was like, you can't really read the expressions because even I wasn't sure what the expression was because it's that weird one of like, I don't like you saying that because my actual parents are dead.
Yes, but it also isn't inaccurate.
It's not inaccurate, which is why it was a weird. That's why I said it was a weird. Like, it's a really weird. You can't read it. it's weird.
Then the DM just like I was like, DM, can I inside check? And you were like, no, you can. The DM said, fuck you, he can. Roll.
And then you still got a net gain of 0.
Yeah, because you're like, they don't even know how they feel. Tala doesn't know how they feel. But like,
that's what the description was trying to get across.
Yeah, I get it. But it's that now thing of they're going to that home, that place. Well, not less a home has been described by Curls and yourself, but more like a workshop essentially with a fucking couch bed.
Yeah. So we're gonna find some mysterious science notes.
Yes, from the father of the two. Well, when I say father and mother, you know what I'm referring to with it, whether or not it's inaccurate. It's like the man who raised her from being a preteen to where she is now, and the woman.
I mean, for the pair of them, that distinction is minor.
You know what I mean, though, like, because one of them, okay, the one that's alive and the one that isn't, the one that is now confirmed dead.
Yes.
They were the one who.
Jonah was a very. He was more of the he was the educational tutor.
Yeah.
They were both very sufficient in combat, but Leah was the superior combatant and was in charge of most of Tala's combat training. Jonah was in charge of her education and tactical training.
Yeah.
and it's Jonah's notes that we are looking for, because he has notes on his lichen strain, which by extension is Tala's strain. Tala was again, it's a detail which I think has probably come up in character, but is not known by the party because it was brought up in a dream. For reasons that nobody really knows, even though Tala seems to be closer to Leah than Jonah, she chose to be turned by Jonah, not Leah.
And when that happened, Jonah's strain is different to the normal ones. That's what I was asking, was Jonah...
Yeah, it's different to regular werewolves. In some way, we're not sure why.
Which we could learn, and that could be one of the things, like...
That's the goal.
And for all we know, we could find out something about it, where it's like, this blood has already been spiked by Zentrala's blood, or maybe it was spiked by something else's blood. And in addition, that has provided either a form of resistance, or a way of manipulation, or whoever the fuck knows.
Could be anything, who knows?
But it's going to be funny, where we have Asian, an incredibly, like, look, she's a cocky, ne'er-do-well, roguish scandaler, but also an ancient being. And Zalric Allwood, and love him or hate him, an incredibly intelligent boy. I did not say that.
Clip it! Clip!
No clip!
Clip!
No clip!
Clipped!
I will delete your messages if you clip it. Having them not there and having the two Unga Bungas, like Tala, she's great. But Thane is, like, bog standard on a lot of things.
Oh, you can call Tala shit as thick as a sack of bricks. That's true.
Yeah, but at the same notion, it's like, Tala is good, the way that Thane is good with religion, which is his intelligence-based thing, is the same way where Tala is good at her blood hunter stuff. In that way of, like, they're both, like, that's where their proficiency when it comes to their intelligence lies. That and Thane and Tala, when it comes to a fight as well, they're very different, but they're also clever.
Oh yeah. White Dragon Brain.
Yeah. Speaking of the White Dragon, I get to play Midrash on Saturday, and get to use that brand new icon, which I can't fucking face.
Yeah. Because he doesn't love me! He doesn't love me anymore, chat. He's gonna come and visit me, and then cancel because he doesn't love me anymore. The first girl goes to the theatre, and now you're not coming to visit me. Nobody loves me anymore, guys. Except for Spook and Sadie.
So even Sadie loves Spook more than you, so...
Sadie's left me to go bully Spook, even though she's literally right here staring at me because she was like, why are you screaming, mother? Ah!
Someone clip that. Yeah. Look, I entirely forgotten about the thing. And we'll definitely have opportunities to do it when I visit closer to November and December, and we can go to the German market.
God, I'm so hyped for the German market. I'm gonna eat so much food. So that's the only reason you go, is to eat food.
Yeah. Oh, it's
I've been in like 3 years. And
the last one I think was when we went.
Yeah, the one that we went to was the last one before the world caught fire, and they had to be cancelled.
Which, in fairness, they absolutely did.
Oh, obviously they had to be, but missed the food. Good food.
So yeah, we have no Oakart, no Pop, but me, Curls, and a few others are going to be in a campaign that's run by the Gelatinous Friend, who you know on Twitch.
Gelatinous Friend!
Go follow them, by the way. They're up further in the chat, you should definitely follow them. They're running an Eberron campaign, and I get to play a barbarian blackmail. A homely, wimpy cod more cowbell.
Amazing. Hello, Fairchild. Oh, wow, so upset.
I'm sorry, but it's just how sharply the cut at the end of that of just
Wow.
Sadie.
Sadie.
it's gonna be a lot of fun to play Madrash again because it's Pat and Beast time, which I'll talk about them to death because I just enjoy the
What you? Oh, Sadie, that was silly. Come here, silly girl. You're right.
Did she jump and?
She
bump her
fumbled
head?
the jump. Oh, silly girl. You okay?
Sadie, you're old. You have disadvantage on your checks. Please stop.
Nothing hurting? No complaints? No, you're okay. That was silly. There we go. Let me put you on the chair properly. That was silly. You alright? Nothing hurting? If I grab you there. Nothing hurting? No? Okay. We're all good. That was silly, wasn't it? You're an old lady. You can't make jumps like that.
The other fun thing about Pop for the next time is that I will be letting Nemo's already done it. Nemo's already made a character, but I will let Ollie make a level 16 character, basically.
Oh, nice.
I'll have to check what level I let Nemo at, because then, of course, I'll have to let... Because the Plighted Prince's main cast are going to be the ones that are stronger, so unless Nemo does match them...
Yeah.
Like, it's not fair for me to make Ollie.
You could take Tian's level as an estimate because he's a lower level than the party.
Could do, yeah, that's true.
Which reminds me, I was going to ask you this, but I didn't want to ask it mid-session because I wasn't going to do a level up mid-session. Does K-Hurt get a level up from all the shit he's been doing? I think he's level. I want to say. It's weird because he had his quote unquote levels are just his bard spells because he has the standard HP of a young dragon.
My ruling on
he doesn't have class HP. He has his.
My ruling on Kaerk is that Kaerk basically gets to become more powerful when he becomes an adult. So like that's when he just basically shoots up in everything. Like, and it's just like one big wham at once. So like he'll shoot up like 13th level kind of thing.
Fair enough, yeah. That was my main question looking at his spell list. I was like, is he going to get new spells or anything? But,
no,
it's
but
valid.
Like he doesn't need them as well because while he is incredibly useful as a spellcaster, he's also a fucking dragon, as we saw in our last combat. That was really useful.
It was important.
Very
he's
useful
the ASEAN of the group. It's like he's very useful to have. The main downside is that in public settings he can't do his stuff.
I would think that's a bit of an insult to say that he's the ASEAN of the group to ASEAN. In that it's like saying, we have Venom Fang. He's the Galgarond of our things. Like, you're insulting the other one. Like, the power scale ain't the same, Chief.
It's not the power. It's the situation.
Yeah, true.
No, I'm not comparing their power. I'm comparing the situation in that we have a very powerful ally who is very powerful to have in combat, but they can't reveal themselves. That was the comparison I was making. That was literally the comparison I made. Is that they're both very strong, but they can't be used in public.
I more meant that if ASEAN was there and Kaerk was there, you made the comparison. ASEAN would look like that's like a dog to me in regards to scale. Like, you compare me to a dog. Like, character to character. It's like, the fuck?
I wasn't comparing their power, I was comparing the situation.
Yeah, I was comparing the characters, which would have just been funny. Now then, that's Mirabar. Now, how many fireballs do I need to put on it to represent the destruction?
About 20, I think.
No, you might want to square that.
I have no head for distances and measures. Which is amazing considering how much D&D I play.
Yeah.
If you ever say to me, you hear an explosion 10 miles away, I'll just go, cool. I don't know what that is. I do not understand distance at all. I just go, cool, that's a number. No, I've never been able to get it. Ow! Oh, why?
That's the stupid thing about like they use feet, so like 30 feet of movement, 60 feet of movement, where it's 5,280 feet to 1 mile, and that's like,
Cool.
what's the point? Like, how do you calculate that out?
I don't know how long a
Whereas-
mile is. I don't know how long a foot is. In 5e, I count squares. They go 30 feet. I don't know how far that is, but I can count how many squares it is. I have no grasp of distance or length in any regard, and I never have for the entirety of my life. Ow! I've been boxed.
One of those things where like I kind of sometimes think, would it have been better if they had done it by meters? And like, because then of course you just have a scale of 1,000 up to kilometer. Like, I don't know. Let me get a calculator here. So 2 meters is actually 6 foot. So given that it's usually like, 5 foot square around you, you can almost like put them next to each other.
Yeah, I guess they liked the multiples of 5.
Yeah, also it's done by the States and the Americans, so they were like, meh.
America.
And as always, the Americans do something and we all have to adapt.
As I said, to me, it makes no difference what unit they make because I don't understand any units. It's okay, we don't know what a stone weighs. Neither do I! That applies to weight as well.
Like, the UK and Ireland have the stupid weight. You guys have the stupid distance measurement. We should all just measure by time. Clearly, Kay had the right idea.
Yep, Kay had the right idea.
That was like the most confusing thing in the world for me as a kid, was stones. I was like, because of course I was there as a little kid and went, how many of these do I weigh? Just holding up a pebble,
Yep.
That's where my brain went. It was like, is it this that I measure by?
I think my brain was the same with feet. When someone said something was 3 feet tall, I would literally look down at my feet and just sort of like picture just like one and like take 3 steps. So like 1, 2, 3, and it's like that's not nope. Nope.
They're very small.
I have very little feet.
It's also fun, like, just thinking about Oakheart right now, just how much we sat down and wondered about who are we bringing to Serpent's Head, and like sometimes like, well, okay, what about this and that, and what about this and that, and what about this and that, and it's like everyone is like, okay, we can eliminate this and eliminate this and eliminate this, who does this leave us with? And then the point getting raised, I think you were gone at the time, actually, Blue, was being raised about like, would it be better for us to leave ASEAN with the army? And the reason is that she can do the bare minimum. Like, let's be real. Oh, the army are attacking the wall? There's the Black Knights. ASEAN. Bomb. Gone. And then she does whatever else she's going to do. Because let's be real, she's as fickle as Rune. The only difference is we know she's going to beeline it for Cordelia.
Well, this, this brings up what I was saying earlier, is she can't use her stuff in public. She can't just be with the
Here's
army.
the thing,
She
though.
can't just be with the army and go dragon shape and break down the wall.
See, here's the thing. Talking with this with like Curls and them is like, the army is actually the better one of the two, because if she goes full out, if she's with like the elite crew, the secret of us three or us four with Thomas resurrecting her, we're all aware that she's a dragon. We all are, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a group of like 9 of us with Astor and whoever else, and she disappears and suddenly a dragon appears, everyone of that group, now a much wider group of people, several which are grossly untrustworthy with information, now are aware, well, okay, she just disappeared and now a dragon appeared and none of them are idiots. Whereas if an army is attacking and no one even really needs to know where Fenna is with the army, because of course she's a rogue, like she's a stealth op, don't even need to question it. If a dragon just magically appears, that looks like it's a divine sign of something like supporting this whole thing and just wrecking those things, getting the gates open, and suddenly that entire situation solved, and then she's gone. And no one knows where she is. No one knows that the dragon is there. And it's like the difference of hundreds of people going, well, like not all of them are going to go, where's Fenna? Where is Fenna? Whereas of those 8 people that are there looking for her, like, 3 of them know who she is, but the other, like, 5 are like, where the fuck did Fenna go?
Okay, so, I mean, we had Fenna down as a cert for the start, so I suppose that brings up the other question of if you guys now are reconsidering taking Fenna with us, that means we have another slot. And we couldn't freaking think of, like, the last 2 people that we wanted to bring with us, and now we've got to bring...
That's the thing of, if we can't always fill it out with, like, generic lieutenant. Like, of course we don't want to, because Curls has such a wonderful wide array of characters, but we don't know who we're going to find in Meganhold. Like, we could very well find everyone we need in Meganhold to fill out that roster and have surplus, and they go with the army, you know? We could very well. We don't know.
Yeah.
Because that's just an example. Like, for all we know, we could find, what's her name again? Begins with a T from
Tina's.
Meganhold. Tina's, thank you. We could find Tina's, we could find Sadu, we can find a few others who might just all look at the situation and go, actually, no, if you're trying to stop them and this, so immediately down to work with you on this.
Yeah.
And
yeah. The red first base is there, but I don't, basically, Tala's a bit 50-50 now on basically anybody who isn't a wolf.
Also fair.
Based off, like, what Donald has said, it's like literally Donald had a massive rant about how, like, for the last however many years, they could have been doing stuff, and they were kind of being like, we can't really be intervening, and Donald was just like trying to get them to do that. So Tala, knowing that, is now just kind of like, okay, you could have been doing a lot more and we're choosing not to, so I kind of have gone off you a little bit.
That's interesting for her as well, because those are, like, of course the wolves are her tie. They're her major tie.
Yeah, she's always preferred the wolves anyway.
Yeah,
but now it's
of course.
Yeah, that was literally just a preference of wolves like other wolves. It's literally one of their character traits of, wolves get put with other wolves, whereas the other animal types will go solo more frequently. It's literally like wolves' signature thing. But now there's a less of an instinctual thing behind it and more of a reasoning behind it of like.
Yeah, it's interesting as well, because of course we can all look at it and say, well, okay, what the fuck can we do for people to help us out with? But like someone like Fred's retired, his kid's only a baby, he can't join it, of course, but like I imagine we could definitely fill out this roster with, like, again, we could go visit the Centaurs again, and they have a few people there. And, like, we can definitely, the hero coming back to ask for help kind of thing, tag in. Because I know they had, like, a war leader.
It's 100% what we're doing right now.
Yeah. But, like, they had a war leader and a sage with them who could definitely, like, go, well, you're not going to have this if that occurs. So, like, your crew needs to tag in. And one of them join us up. And I don't know what the sage... Like, I'm only calling him that because, of course, he was a magic user. And he was, like, an advisor, like an elder for their tribe, their people. If he comes with us, suddenly we have Centaur with us in that way, whatever form of magic he has, or War Leader, or I'm only using the term War Leader because I know he was like the leader of their military again. I'm using basic terms, like simple. Any one of them, or like they could say, oh, actually, well, we can't do it because we're going to lead our forces, but we'll give you one of our champions. And suddenly we just have a generic Centaur with us, who happens to be like a competent fighter.
Yeah,
Done.
yeah. Look, it's one of those things where even if we can't find other people at the end of the day, it gets said almost every week on this bloody stream. 5e is about action economy. If we have more people on our side, it grossly stacks things better in our favour. Hello again, child. It's not quite 11 o'clock, I'm afraid.
It's only 12, Jesus.
What?
Or 10, excuse me.
10. it's definitely not.
My brain just did a... But yeah, we can pretty much get anything, but honestly, I don't know what we're going to do in regards to, like, I guess we'll have to definitely get more information coming up to it. But my mind is very heavily in the position of, well, okay, we land in. How do we find Edmund or Mara? How do we find anyone who's still alive or, like, you know, held in a prison? Like, of course, we have to look for Leah and Cordelia.
Yes.
Is it Leah that's her name? Am I correct?
Yes, it is Leah. Yes. Okay. Very high on Tala's priority list.
Yeah. Very rare for me to get the names right.
It's fair. You have literally never interacted with them. I wouldn't expect them to be glued in your brain.
Leah and Cordelia, pretty much they're our priorities. And if we happen to get Edmund before or after it, perfect. But like, they're the only reason I'm like hesitant, like, because Kay and Pearls kind of had the talk of like, well, her helping out the army would be really, really good. But then my head goes, yes, but have you considered ASEAN helping us against Edmund and Mara? Because if they come as a duo, that CR rating just skyrocketed into the 30s.
Yeah, we're the elite, you know, SS squad being sent in. We need the big guns.
Yeah, and I don't think many guns in our setting are going to be bigger than a dragon.
Yeah.
Especially given that this is a dragon in Curls' world. Who's basically immortal, so like, if Edmund swings at her, it practically does nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I know that ASEAN herself has said that, like, you know, then they're not supposed to intervene. So I don't know if it is going to be one of those things where we reach a point where she sort of says, like, I physically can't help you now.
I think what's going to happen is that if she does this, she's going to go away. As in, like, whatever she's doing here in Faerun, right?
Faerun?
Sorry. The Rustinglands. Goodness, sorry. I'm literally on a map for it right now. If whatever she does for us right now in the Rustinglands, I think that's like goodbye to Fena. Yeah. Narratively, she's out of the narrative at that point.
Makes sense.
So whatever she's going to do will be big. For the point of dragons don't get involved, which means that either this was a dragon acting grossly out of turn, and you know she's probably.
I think she's already said that.
Or, like, in regards to like the interpretation that the world might have, like, oh, dragons are meant to get involved in mortal affairs. It's like, why the fuck did a dragon feel like it needed to get involved in mortal affairs? Like, why did this dragon feel the need to get involved? You know.
Or as Tala always says, get your fucking shit together.
Yeah. But like, again, it'll probably be like Edmund and Mara, and we will not have their help with Zentralis at all. But like those two probably will be the last thing she's able to do, or the gate, basically. And the only thing about the gate is that could get other entities into the city, which then distracts all of Edmund's reinforcements and all of Mara's reinforcements. Now they have to answer an army, which of course they can't fight us and the army at the same time, but be ripped between them. So like Eddie's strike force has to hit us and we have to hit him, whereas the army is now coming up and now they've got a deadline for everything. So like there's that benefit there of the dragon being used in that instance. it's like a one-time use special effect in like a video game. Like, use it once, you can't use it again. Super important, super powerful. And then, of course, we have everyone else who can get involved, which, like, if we could do that, then suddenly the people we've left with the army can get involved in the city, and encountering them and getting them to meet up with us as we, like, oh, we're literally about to fight Edmund, can you get here in the next 10 minutes? Yeah. Like, kind of thing. And, like, suddenly the fight's getting towards its end, it's getting dire, Edmund's getting an advantage, and he gets fucking nuked from the stratosphere. There's just Flare on top of a building looking down at him, throwing 16 different fireballs.
When you realise there are secret chests in a mission, so you have to backtrack. Ah, the Guild Wars experience. They like to hide things. Oh, we had so much fun doing those fractals.
Oh, that was cool.
It was really fun. And also I found it so funny of just like, bow, you can get an achievement! And everyone's like frantically trying to type /bow.
We couldn't, like, how fast could we type it in?
Not fast enough.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Let's go back and do it. Because it gives you a fucking mastery.
Mastery.
Need masteries.
I feel like it'll be better off if I just write up and use the theater of the mind for Mirabar rather than just literally building a ruined city just for you to walk around in.
Oh, yeah. You don't need maps. You don't need maps for everything. God, no.
Yeah, yeah. I have a map for Plot's Lair, so like when you eventually get there, that's where fun can happen. Yeah, I keep thinking back because of course I'm getting in White Dragon Warhead. That's it. That's all I can think of for everything. But like, we don't know.
I hadn't noticed.
No, really? No one could have guessed. But like, there's something about the narrative of Okar which is so heavy and wonderful, but also there's something to be said about, like, aside from Hurry going off on his journey, if Fena is the first person who is in the final battle to walk away from the final battle, being the person who brought us all together, there's something poetic about that.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, it's up to you now. I've done everything I can, and because of Zal, we have the utility of going, we have a fucking dragon. Like, it's pretty fucking useful to have a fucking dragon. And it's so wild, because I don't know how the fight with Edmund's gonna go. Like, are we gonna find him, like, some ritual, like, some plaza in the center of the Serpent's Head town that has been returned into, like, a ritual altar, and Edmund's there trying to complete the ritual before the moon bursts so that he can protect his wife as best as he can, and we're all like, shank, 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 shank. Like, or are we gonna fight him and, like, either, like, do you remember The Mummy? The film The Mummy?
Yeah.
Where the entire premise of the film is that he's trying to resurrect his wife. Well, what? In the second, I believe it's the second film that had The Rock in it. And in it...
Yeah, he appeared briefly, yeah, he was the Scorpion King.
At the end of that film, he's hanging off the ledge. And of course, we got our heroic duo there. And of course, she runs back to help him, pull him out. When he's telling her to go, leave me, just get out of here. Because she matters more to him than he does. He doesn't care about himself, he cares about her. She cares about him more than herself and pulls him out. And then of course there's the mummy himself. He looks over and calls out her name, Anuk-Samun, and she runs. She leaves him. What if Edmund and Mar are working together, but the moonburst begins to happen? And Edmund is trying to call out her name for help in the fight, and she leaves him. And that's what turns him into a Lord of the Hells, because it's emotional based. Yeah. What if the grief and the rage of that incident...
Oh, hello! Hi! Hi! Cash... Ow!
You can't see me. You can't see my shenanigans. Go ahead.
how low can I sink before my face tracking stops? Ow! Apparently that low.
Hi, Curls. Hi, buddy.
Hi, how was the theatre?
How was the theater?
You should tell us all about it right now.
yes. Begin discussing in the chat about it. Why don't you bring her to the call, Blue?
You should tell us all about it right now. Did you have a really good time?
Yeah. That's the only thing that matters about a conversation, but yes.
Hi, what y'all talking about? Nothing. Nothing.
I can't talk because if I start talking, it's just all gonna come out again.
Anything interesting? Nah.
Definitely not talking about like interesting what if scenarios about how you might write certain events at Serpent's Head.
Any shenanigans? Always shenanigans.
Well, we were discussing Zal's shenanigans. Let's all focus on Zal's shenanigans.
It's going to be our shenanigans because we get to take part in them for once.
Yeah,
just not as ourselves.
But it's also
which means we get zero consequences.
Woo! Yeah, zero consequences for us too, in particular. But of course, we were mentioning. We actually didn't say this, Blue, but the funniest part about that session for me was when Zal was talking with ASEAN and then Chaos and Bessie about the idea of it, and of course, Zal or Thane and Tala are then talking, and as we are, Core, you whore.
That's the one from before, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, no, it is. It's the homely, wimpy, cod, more cowbell, which is the same one from before. But Zal or Tala and Thane talking about Zal of just going, yeah, who would ever endanger the mission so close to everything going awry? Why would anyone ever risk something drastic?
I know. Very much a case of us being extremely meta for the sake of comedy.
Oh, of course.
I'm busy killing a sky pirate. Oh, I think I know where you are. That was a fun segment. Play Guild Wars. The story is fun.
But yeah, Carlos, we were legitimately we were talking. We already talked about Pop and everything else, so we were talking about. It was mostly me, just bless Blue's heart, talking at Blue, which I hate doing.
I made the mistake of being like, so Das, what are your thoughts on it? And then I didn't have to speak for the next 20 minutes. It's endearing.
I would apologize, but I get to talk.
It's endearing. You're excited about things.
Yeah, it's great. But we were talking, Curls, because I don't mind planting seeds in your fucking head because I know you. But we were talking about what ifs about.
The we in that sentence is very liberally scattered in.
You were encouraging me along. You kept me on certain tracks. This train was going full measure, but you were the fucking grommet at the front of it putting down the tracks about whether or not Fenna would assist us at the city or at the wall, the benefits of either, and then the thing of well, how would we fight Edmund and Mar? And one of the things I brought up was the idea of Edmund. Either he's defending somewhere important within the city, or say he's at an altar trying to complete his ritual to become a Lord of the Hells. One of the two. But to bring in the memory of the Mummy 2, where the Mummy and Anuxamun, his lover, they're watching the heroes. The guy's nearly falling off the edge, and she runs in and pulls him up out of it. And he shouts for her to come and help him. Which, of course, she doesn't. She leaves him. And it's the thought of, what if it's about to be the Moonbirth, and Edmund shouts for Mara's assistance, but Mara leaves him alone, abandons him to go and do it. And that being abandoned by her, the one person he loved, that's the trigger, and he turns into the Lord of Hells. There's our phase 2, and the fight begins proper. That kind of, because you're a really good narrative writer, Girls, and I know you're gonna be one of those bitches who's gonna make this dramatic. I don't even know. I legitimately, I can throw out 6 billion ideas. You'll hit me like 5 I didn't expect, and I'm gonna be delighted when it hits. Thane won't. Thane won't at all. It'd be like the bottle that's about to fly into the guy's head. He's like, yeah. But me, I'm delighted. Thane's like, ah. And this is where Curl says nothing, because of course she'll say nothing. Just be like, interesting. So, Blue, what are you thinking about streaming for the rest of the week?
I still haven't really decided.
You've been on a big Guild Wars hit lately.
I am very much on a big Guild Wars hit, and I could potentially do some more story because we completed Living World. We're on it's so confusing. Living World 1 is being re-released because at the time it couldn't be replayed. Now it's being re-released so that people can replay it. I never played through Living World 1, so I'm replaying it. I'm up to date on the current re-release. Part 5 is being released at the start of next month, which I'm really excited for. So because I'm up to date on it for now, it means I can continue other story stuff, which is fun. And I can continue Living World 2, which will eventually lead me to starting Heart of Thorns properly, the actual expansion, which will be very tight, actually making like proper progression, and I'll be unlocking a bunch of new stuff, so I'm like super hyped for that. Alternatively, I'm also on 98% world completion, and I'm like, ah! I'm so close!
Ow.
World completion is for base game. They don't include the expansion zones.
I was very confused for a second.
Yeah, they don't include the expansion zones.
Expansion content.
Yeah,
Ow.
it's like they do. Yeah, the big percentage bar at the top of the world map that says world completion is only for the base game zones. So I got 98% of the base game zones completed. I completed another one today.
This is where I got confused because, of course, I was like the whole thing, and it's like, no, it's base world. That's fine. Then there's Carl's like all that stuff about her narrative. She's like, oh, I'm not gonna respond to this because if I give them anything, like they're gonna do whatever. But now she's like 98.
Yeah, I don't actually know how many zones that is, but yeah, it's a lot. I think there's 5 zones per region. Yes, being mysterious, definitely. Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, the original world completion percentage bar is for the base game. Which is... Oh, I got a handy little map here. Let me give you a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32 zones, assuming that I didn't miss any in that quick count. 32 zones. I believe I have totally completed 30. I believe by my reckoning I have 2 zones left, and both of them are partially completed because main story made you ow! Yeah, the main story made me go to them, so they're both kind of like at a weird number, like 57%, and the other one's at like 60-something%. So, yeah, so I have 98% map completion left to do. So it's very tempting to fully complete the map and then continue to do the story. Also, there's so much happening in Guild Wars. Save, thank you very much. In 2 weeks, exactly today, I'm saving. In 2 weeks, exactly the day the Halloween event is gonna start. So I'm gonna be in the Mad King's Labyrinth again, I'm just
gonna salute you and say best of luck.
And I'm kicking in the jeans and steal all his candy.
I'm not going back in there.
That's valid. That's valid. I still have a lot of loot left over from the last time we played, so I'm just like, well, I can just continue where I left off. Too blue. We're gonna hate ourselves doing a jumping puzzle. I've already done it, so I have the achievement. I might do it once just for the sake of being like, I've done it this year. I've done it several times already.
Yeah, I ain't doing that again, Chief. I'm gonna fall into FF and whatever the fuck they do this year because again, like we have such and the one that doesn't get mentioned, but like Star Wars: The Old Republic is also there and has a fucking great narrative right now. Like there's 3 MMOs, all of which you can do story-based stuff.
Yep, there are no other MMOs exist. Or grab
Yes,
the camera.
there are only these-
Just grab the camera. No other MMOs exist.
No other
No
MMOs.
other MMOs exist.
it.
It's
Just
just
the
Final
3.
Fantasy, Star Wars, and Guild Wars. There are no other MMOs.
None.
2 of them are free. Yeah, exactly. Guild Wars is free. And another reason that I'm very
all of
high
them are
playing
free
it.
up to a point.
Yeah. Everybody has to make money in order to keep their servers going.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Any large game that has a large multiplayer presence needs money to keep the server going. That's how the world be.
Like, look, I'm not gonna call out Star Wars: The Old Republic stuff, but there was a lot of bounty hunter based content. You know, like their Mandalorians, where they also had the Mando gear from the fucking Disney film or the Disney show put in the game. Like you could wear it. And certain abilities you did also made your like little scanner thing at the side go down, like whenever over your eye for stuff. Like one of the most meager shit, and it's like we don't care. We're fully aware this is how you guys make your bank. Fully aware this is how you make your bank. Ain't got no shame in that. Fucking rock on. And like
Games cost money to run and upkeep, and especially since they are still currently being upkept. They are still making current content for them. Those devs need to be paid.
Anything that doesn't just like, you know, sand down all the interesting parts of its game and like that don't just like sand down the interesting parts of their game and actually like let you engage in a really interesting narrative of it and like doesn't just like gut you and it's like, oh yeah, here's a cool concept for a narrative and we're gonna kill it. What's up, Blizzard? How are you doing today?
They do not exist. I do not see them.
I straight up
There are
feel
no
like
other MMOs.
No,
There is
I feel
no
like I'm
war
just
in
Marlon
Ba Sing
Brando
Se.
right now, looking at Overwatch. Look at how they massacred my boy. It's just why? Anyway.
Overwatch, something else that also doesn't exist anymore.
Literally, it doesn't.
I know,
killed
they
Overwatch.
closed
It's
down
gone.
the servers for Overwatch 1 like fucking F. Like, oh, I'm sure there was nobody on Earth that would like to continue playing that. Because they
It's
can't
not like they
afford.
did
Because
the-
they can't afford Overwatch 2.
It's the exact same thing they did with Reign of Chaos, with the Warcraft 3. Like, they killed the old game. You can no longer play the old game. You can only play what they've made. And it's like, do you see the flaw in alienating the people who liked it? Do you see the flaw? Anyway, let's talk about things we like and that are really fun. Right?
I really like Guild Wars 2!
Yeah, Guild Wars 2.
Yes.
Hilariously funny dialogue I've seen among stuff. I did progress a little bit of the narrative myself, by myself, because I just wanted to get the Zaiten stuff done. Because I know it gets.
Yeah.
Like,
I've said this
Realm
before.
Reborn, it gets better.
Yeah, I've dabbled very little. Like, literally, I haven't even started the next expansion. I'm in the, like, pre-patch leading up to the expansion. And I'm still really enjoying it. I'm enjoying Living World 1, I'm enjoying Living World 2. So, base game is literally Realm Reborn of, there's a lot of stuff that we gotta set up. Your character's gotta get from level 1 all the way to 80 before we can do all the spicy stuff. So, yeah, even for me, completing the base game took a fucking age, but the moment I started doing Living World stuff, I was like, I want to see where this is going!
Yeah. Because it's clear that they really began doing more and more with it. And honestly, like, the way they were doing this, and both, I have to give all, like, funny enough, I can give all 3 of these games this credit as well. Because all 3 of these games, FF, Star Wars, and Guild Wars, do a thing where you stop, and you can just go, you can go to these other ones. Now, FF doesn't.
FF doesn't.
You have to go through it.
Unfortunately, FF doesn't let you do that. But Guild Wars, you can do all of this stuff out of order.
I will say this, though. While yes, I do agree with, like, you can do it out of order with that, I am much more of the opinion that the FF way is better.
Yeah.
But it's better in regards to the fact of they can fully use the narrative.
Yes.
However, Star Wars did it differently, where there's a lot of, like, say, we could call it like the living world stuff and like the point fives of FF. There was a bunch of stuff like that, preluding one of their major expansions. And you can just jump to that expansion where they're just like, you're just the best Jedi or bounty hunter or smuggler or soldier or whatever you happen to be, or inquisitor. And they very cleverly, when you go through this, you engage with the first companions of each of the starting classes throughout. So your guy will always be in there. Eventually, your guy will be in there. You'll eventually pick him up. But what they did was they searched by the most popular classes, like the ones that everyone at least played like the first 10 levels of. And the most popular ones were the ones that were there first. So of course, the little R2D2 unit that the Jedi Knight gets, because that's the basic tank and warrior class of the good guys.
Yeah.
That's the first one that shows up. And the character who's been engaging with you in the narrative for a while before this. So she's been like a, do you flirt with her? Do you not flirt with her? She's a Sith. Are you a Jedi? Are you flirting with a Sith? Oh no. Like all this kind of cool stuff. And you literally do not need to know anything about the narrative before it. But like they let you engage with that one, and they let you engage with a bunch of others, and your old crew, like you step away from this narrative, like what you're doing in that narrative, and your crew is still there. You can still use them, so it's not like they've stolen them from you. So it's not like the team you built up is gone. They're just not in this storyline, so they're gone while you're in this storyline, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah,
so fine. And like, for example, as the bounty hunter, I romanced the first companion because you and her can build a great relationship of like intermediate like banter and trust, and she gets a crush on you quickly, but your character can be dense about it and just not get it until someone else mentions it, and then you can begin flirting again, and you can get all this cool stuff. And again, race and gender don't matter.
Yeah.
You can have all the fun with that, so there's great with that. But you get to meet her then, and it is like they could tell. You could very clearly tell, like say, the Sith first, Sith warrior's first companion is the most romanced character. She's a Twi'lek, the ones that have the long, standing back hair.
Right.
She had a shock collar because she was a slave, and your first action as a Sith that you can do, because light side Sith warriors is stupidly popular. In like
that doesn't surprise me.
I am a Sith, but I am opposing the dark side without the because a light side Sith is still like an evil Jedi, but you do not follow the cruelest tendencies. Like, oh, I don't fucking care. Like, no, release the slave. People are better when you have them working with you, and they have that fire in them to work with you because you made them believe you, and you can become like a really charismatic leader, and it's cool. It's really, really cool. But of course, you run with the shock collar, and you can help her out in her own story, and you can have several instances of, like, say, you can make your companions go light side or good side with certain characters. Like the Sith have a lot of really obvious ones with this, as the Jedi. But one of the things you can do is like you find out who sold her to slavery, and she's like, it's like heavy because if she goes to do it, she'll murder them all, but she'll go dark side for it. You're a fucking Sith. You can literally just tell her, stay on the ship, grab your apprentice, and you go. And you just mulch an entire Hutt cartel in like a palace. You just ruin them for her, and like, you know, you get all this. So when you meet up with her in the narrative, the antagonist for you in this narrative is threatening her, regardless of who you are. They're threatening her. And like the other most romanced is one of like the baby Mandalorian, like one of the baby bounty hunter characters. I call him that because he's like, you know, early 20s, clearly does not need to shave, has like 2 curly beard hairs here he's trying to grow, like younger than like the average like grizzled like deep voice guys. And like either way you go, it's just like, if you so much as lay a hand on either one of them, I'm going to murder you. But whichever one you're attached to is the one you say it about. And your character can make things in the world like much harder later on by going to save her rather than saving an important other aspect of it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you have these cool things. So it does they do let it branch out, not
That's
in
pretty
ways
cool.
that it's like gonna break the world,
Yeah.
but you do get to do it in like a very BioWare RPG style, the way that everyone has wanted them to do it. So it's pseudo Knights of the Old Republic 3, like from now on, whereas the first one was obviously like, no, we've got to make an MMO, so we got to make, we got to try and kill WoW. It's like, you don't have to kill WoW. Literally, just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, you don't have to. No one has to kill WoW. WoW has successfully killed itself. It no longer exists. You just got to do your own thing.
Also, what Core put in chat is 100% accurate. Reminds me of the scene where your male Sith and your max relations Jedi that you're corrupting. When you do stuff with her, she gets out of bed, she comes to the Imperial March.
That's cute.
But she's hilarious because she's only way to say it is like she's almost like a Force telepath in that she can tell what someone's feeling. So bringing her on missions is so fucking useful because you can just look at it and go, "Hey, you know how you're the Republic?" And they were like, "Yeah." It's like, "That's a Jedi." Like, "Yeah." You know what? I like he's an elite Jedi. You know who she is because she was a Jedi. She was taken in by the Jedi because she has that ability of like seeing someone's true intention. And he's like, "Yes." You know she's using this ability right now and is doing it honestly. And you're like, you're doing your leading questions, you're building it up, and then you just turn around and go, "Why don't you tell us how that guy's feeling?" Like the guy who's obviously lying to everyone, but the Republic can't get him because they can't prove it. And it's like, and she goes, "Yeah, oh yeah, no, he's fucking lying. He's absolutely lying." Like, she pulls everything out, and it's like, here's all his emotions about this scene, and clearly he's, deceptive and everything else. And the Jedi's like, "I know how her ability works. She can't lie about that. That's probably what actually is going on here." And I can sense that she's speaking the truth shit, like that kind of fun way. And then, there's so many cool interactions with them, but a lot of those characters, because they're very aware when they were bringing up these new narratives, of like, well, we'd have to write narrative for all these side characters. What if we just take out a bunch? Keep the few core ones, so the apprentice that you're trying to corrupt, for example, with the Sith and the Jedi, which also you can go the other way, which is rather than corrupting her, you can show her the flaws of the Jedi Order. So she isn't dark side. She isn't like, "Yes, let's kill me, murder, blah, blah, blah." Instead, you're going like the same way you are, where you're like a dark Jedi. And it's like, fully aware, Sith are a load of bullshit. Fully aware that Jedi are a load of bullshit. Let's do something a little bit on the Sith side, but over here just slightly. And you put her in that, and suddenly everyone's cooler in the spectrum. That's fun. So, like, you have the Living World in Guild Wars too, where you get to like pick and choose certain bits, and you can like choose to jump into a new campaign, new like chapter of it, and go, "Well, this is cool, but who the fuck is this character?" Like, I bet you here just after you fought Zaitan, you go, "Let's go back to the Living World 1.1 and see where she is."
Yeah,
and then
like from a story standpoint, if you want to know all the story and all the characters, which I do, then you do need to play through it and do it in order. It's specific in that if you are solo on yourself, you can't just skip to the end of like, "Oh, I'm on part 1 of the Living World. I want to skip to part 4." I don't think you can do that. However, if, as happened with me, I was on the Living World Part 4 and I had a dungeon I wanted to do, I wanted people to come do it with me. Even though people didn't have it, they didn't have to, quote-unquote, unlock it. They could still come and do it with me. It's not locked if you want to do it with a group, which is great, because, I'm like here saying, "I want to do this dungeon," and it wasn't a case of like, "Oh, well, nobody has it unlocked, so nobody can do it with you." It's like, well, no one's done the story, and the group that I was with didn't really care about spoilers, so they were like, "Yeah, sure, let's just go do it," and we went and did it, which was great. There's no locking of like, you can just go do stuff with your friends. You don't have to wait for everybody to unlock it. You can just go do it.
I do like that about Guild Wars a lot. I think that's like really cool, and it works for Guild Wars because the story, if it's weird, because the narrative seems like it gets better and better and better. Of course, I can't comment on it too much myself, like you clearly can.
I mean, evidently it's good because it's still going and has just had another expansion. That's always a good indication of, MMOs that maybe don't do so well don't last. Rest in peace, WildStar.
WildStar. Taken before. Here's the thing. I'll say this: if WildStar came out 4 years ago, it would still be around.
Yeah.
That's actually a fair point. When did WildStar come out?
Yeah, the fact that Guild Wars celebrated its 10th anniversary, I think, speaks for itself, really. I have not played through any of the new expansions, but the fact that it is still going basically says to me that they must have been alright, you know? They must have done okay.
2014 is when it came out, so like I feel like if it came out 4 years later, probably would have done them a lot better. But yeah, Guild Wars, 10 years. Is it 10 years really that we kind of known each other? Because it was the start of Guild Wars.
It was kind of the start of Guild Wars. That was literally what Spook said when we went on holiday. He was like, we've known each other for 10 years.
It's fucking wild.
I know, it was very crazy.
Yeah.
I think that's also a reason that Guild Wars has always been a very fond thing for me. I made a lot of friends in it, which is why I was never willing to let go of it. And now I'm like starting to commit to it a bit more. And I'm like, I'm going to play through all this story I never did. And like the moment I started it, I was like, oh, I'm interested. I like these new characters because we met Destiny's Edge, which were literally the heroes of Faerun of Guild Wars. Of like they'd already saved the land and defeated this beast and were basically semi-retired and kind of had beef with one another. And I was like, it's interesting, I get it. And then literally Living World 1 is introducing you to the pop party of here's the young blood, here's the new kids, here's Erstagulkin's son, here's a little Asura kid who's like just come out of school, here's my lovely lesbian queens who I love so much, one of them's a noir detective. Here's Rox. She's a Char who doesn't have a warband. She wants to get in Ritlock's warband because she thinks he's really cool. I'm just like, I love you, Shakes. Shakes. I love them. You get to meet Brahm in the Char capital. He comes to the Char capital and walks up to Ritlock and is like, I need you to send backup because the freaking Norn won't do anything. And Ritlock's just like, I freaking can't. I'm dealing with refugees. Do I look like a charity? Get out of here. And then you go follow Brahm and you're like, hey, what's the deal? And then you go beat up a bunch of people with him.
Yeah, which is hilarious because you have that fun thing that be pulled in with it with that. Star Wars: The Republic does something very similar where, like, say, you can meet and get to know these guys, but like the first duo you get to meet is a smuggler and a Sith warrior, and they're like they both come across like something of like, because at this point in the narrative, the Emperor's basically been like, oh, he tried to like wipe out the world, or like he tried to wipe out the galaxy or conquer it. And the Sith didn't like it because it meant the Dark Council's power would have been destroyed. It would have been thrown out, and they didn't want that because that was their power and they very much liked it. And the smuggler, of course, like looks at this and goes, well, shit, this is bad. And she looks at it as a Sith and goes, well, shit, this is bad. And it's like they end up working together, and whichever one of them will be on your side, quote unquote, is the one you meet first. And then you meet the other one, which I tell you, as a Jedi Knight, walking in and seeing a Sith warrior across from you and just going, what the fuck is going on here? Like, you know, saber at the hilt, kind of like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And also, like, there's one of the things they do is, like, essentially in the .5, there's a really cool Darth, which is like, you know, the Darth Vader equivalents, but they're not Vader power level, but like, that's the title they get. He's incredibly competent, but also he's very pragmatic, which is why he ends up being quite liked by a lot of people as a character, and also even by like people in the Republic. It's like, yeah, if they go to war with us, like, he's not going to do it where he's like gonna glass a planet, or he's not gonna like nuke a world, because he wants to conquer that world, because he wants the resources of that world.
Yeah, the sensible thing.
Yeah, like,
why would I destroy it? It has things I need.
Yes, like, he's a sensible villain, but also like he has like codes he will not break. Like, there is like certain codes and tenets in the Sith way, just like the Jedi, that he won't break. And like, say, for the Sith Inquisitors get to have both Sith and Warrior actually get a great experience with him, because your master, shall we say, the one that you basically get trained by for them when you get to your higher levels after you become like a lord, is like, he's your main antagonist. Well, for the Warrior you get him from the start, but the Inquisitors you get him from like after you get like level 30, like a lord level, shall we say. It's like Lord of the Sith rather than a Darth. you eventually gain to power and you go, I'm challenging you on the council for your seat. Well, you're not. You're like demanding a duel for satisfaction, kind of. But
I demand satisfaction.
yeah, basically satisfaction. But the other one is always like, oh, this is absurd. He's lowly. He can't. And he will just get up, and he's like second to third most powerful, if not the most like respected powerful in the chamber. And goes, no, a challenge has been met, and you must follow our ways and answer the challenge. If you do not answer the challenge, I will get involved. If anyone else tries to get involved, I will step in. And of course, that immediately makes the players endeared to him on the dark side, because you're like, oh shit, fuck,
respect.
Yeah. Like immediately, he's gonna like make them play by the rules. And if anyone would get involved, he'd throw them around. And he's a beloved character for that. But when you fight him on the Republic side, like you get an instance where you do get to fight him. Like there gets to a point where like you get like, hey, where's all the guards and everything else? And like the Sith have just abandoned the section, and like he's there, like he's the last man to get back on the transports out. Like he's gotten all the crews and everything else. Like this is a loss of it now. I would just be fighting a losing battle, retreating. I'm taking my forces and leaving. Do not engage me, or I will return and walk back, and I will bring hell back down upon you. I'm taking my people and I'm getting out. And of course, the Republic looks at that and goes, you mean we don't have to fight the scary Sith? Okay, bye-bye. So, like, they're willing to go, look, rules of engagement, we'll fucking abide by them, because he will abide by rules of engagement as well. Very much so. But he shows up at the start of this as, like, a character that you like. So you have your Inquisitive, you have, like, the warrior, and you have the smuggler. And they're finding out stuff about the Emperor and the Emperor's forces and such. And this guy, this Darth, is like the linchpin of making the Sith work with us massively, whatever needs to happen. But when, let's call it the major story point occurs, and the new threat arises, and the new Emperor, because there's a new replacement for him that arises, and this guy just shows up and goes, or excuse me, it is the Emperor, but he's like possessed a new body, because it kind of alluded to that he's more or less just the Force itself, just like a ancient entity that just keeps body hopping whenever he needs to.
That old chestnut.
That old fucking chestnut. Yep, exactly.
Ganon.
Ganon. Crumblebottom nearly.
Wait, what?
What? But like that kind of concept of a body hop or a body snatcher, and like he threatens this Darth, and like this Darth is like, basically he and you are the last two that like hold out the fleet to get a bunch of people out, and like your ship that you guys are on, you both agree like, oh yeah, we're fucked. And like you can either have like a choice of like, we could try to salvage the shields to blockade as many ships getting out as possible, or you can do what he says, and it's like, how about we just take the shields off, boost the engines as much as we can, and ram into the motherfucker. And like every one of them will shoot at us, try to stop us from ramming into them. And whichever way you do that, Carl, shut up. Carl, shut up. Carl, don't be a rat. Carl, don't be a rat. Carl, don't be a rat. Stitches get stitches. Oh, don't do it.
Ow! What did I do?
I'm not Final Fantasy. I'm walking around the city place because I'm done doing anything else, and I'm just walking around the city.
You playing video games on my art stream?
I only just did it.
You playing video games on my art stream?
I'm appreciating art. It's great art that's right here in front of me.
You gotta be doing the art.
I've done my bits for Pop. I'm fine. I've done bits of art. I am now covered.
Jeez. Co-host these days.
Am I not giving you engaging narrative regardless of the fact that I'm just walking around a plaza?
Can we eat balls at dash? You'll have to ask. You'll have to ask Frog that.
There's no balls. Hang on. Can I put something to stop her against the door? Yeah, stop her from getting in.
That's what you get for replacing me. You weren't here. You left me.
Look, I've left the FF that I was just walking around in. I've left the FF that I was just walking around in, okay? But to finish the point I was making on this is like this character, like immediately like he's a liked character. It's like, okay, well, how can you respected by the good guys and beloved by the villains? Okay, well, how can you hype up the villain properly? Well,
actually locked out, goddamn.
didn't expect integrity. Despite common misconceptions, I have some integrity.
Really? Ow!
That felt good. That felt good. Dunk a rock in your head. Structural integrity because I'm dummy thick.
You know, Carlos, you've got another highlight for your reel.
So the thing about it is like, yeah, okay. What can you say? What can be done for this immense, like, super cool thing? What can be done for like hyping up these two characters, like this new villain? How can you hype him up? He kills off the Darth. He kills off this beloved Darth. But he essentially goes, "Oh, just kneel down and serve me. Kneel down and serve me. Give up." And he just like looks up, gets up, like, and there's a bunch of like, you know, kind of like the Red Guards in the latest Jedi films. Like he just like nudges, like throws one of them, grabs a weapon off them, and runs at the Emperor. He gets lightning bolted to fucking hell, of course. Like he literally just gets dusted by it. But he just like gets up and just quotes the Sith quote, like the Sith like, hang on a sec. I've actually got to get this bitch because it was. Through, hang on a sec. Peace is a lie, there is only passion. Through passion I gain strength. Through strength I gain power. Through power I gain victory. Through victory my chains are broken and the Force shall set me free. And he does this while he's being blasted to hell and marching at this guy. And like it's a badass send-off.
Have you heard of the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
But
Me, Jar Jar.
I'm trying to find it now. It's not decimals. No, that guy's just a bitch. No, that guy was also a bitch. Most of these characters are hilarious because you will have killed some of them as both good guys and bad guys. I think it's Ravage. Was it Darth Vader?
Mr. Lucas.
Darth Mar. Mar was his name. So yeah, the Roman god of war, Mar. Like he's named after that. You never see his face. He's always in badass armor. He looks super cool. But he gets blasted by this guy. What the fuck is happening to the chat? I looked away for 2 seconds. You mean Jar Jar? Fun fact, Jar Jar. His father's name is George. Oh, Mr. Lucas, Mars Bars,
George R. Binks.
George R. Binks. Blue, what's the chat smoke? Can I have some?
It's not illegal in this country. You can have some.
But like that's one of the main premises of it, and like it's like, hey, even if you don't know the narrative before this, you're very aware this is clearly a badass guy, and he's super cool and super strong.
Yeah.
And it's like, here's the president. That was a Darth, just got dusted. Now the Emperor turns to your character. What does your character say to the Emperor? And do you actually like say, fuck it, I'll work with you? Or do you say, no, I'm not going to work with you? And do you spit in the Emperor's face? What way did your character go? Because either side can go either way. A smuggler can look at it and go, this is just good business to work with you. You're the easiest, the highest fucking person I can work for. Or
Song of Jar and Binks. I don't remember. Fate and Flowers is a lot different than I remember.
that's Binks, B-I-N-X.
I know. It was a gag. Sound off. How we doing, FF crew? We good?
Have you watched it, by the way?
We existing?
Have you watched the most recent?
Yeah, I watched it with girls the other day.
Yeah. Bear in mind, I watched Stardust. I watched that, and then I watched Stardust.
Oof, that is a roller coaster and a half.
Which, by the way, yeah, I can talk about. I watched
Yes,
Stardust,
tell us about Stardust.
For those who don't know, I commented after a stream a while back that I had not watched Stardust. To much of the surprise and horror of both Curls and Blue, to which they both gave my partner Frog, the wonderful Frog in a Jar, the task to get a copy and make me watch it. So
Right.
we found a place to get it from. Got a copy, watched it there over the weekend, and I know Kurov made the comment, of course, that it was made for me, but the film does the tropes that I don't like in some instances, but it does it long enough so that you feel satisfied when those tropes don't occur. For example, go and get me this diamond, this meteor, and I will marry you. Like, obviously, I hated the concept of Victoria because I've been Tristan with a Victoria. I have been that guy. I hated that. That was literally nearly making me want to stop watching it because I was just like so uncomfortable with it. And then it's like, oh no, there's a female lead. I don't have to root for her. Fuck yeah!
Yay!
I think I caps lock sent it to Carlos. I don't have to root for Victoria. And get out of that. And like the story keeps going, and Carlos, bless your heart, you put up with me spamming you so much on that night. I kind of spammed you as well, Blue, but I primarily spammed Curls.
I love the film. I think Girls definitely is takes the lead on it. I love it as well, but it's very much Curls' thing.
But yeah, the fact that
I'm the Ghibli fan.
Disaster to each other. That's the way friends are, though. But it was the wonderful thing of Caspian father's Daredevil. Daredevil has a rivalry for a woman's hand with Superman. Goes off.
So many famous people in that film. It's so stupid.
Goes off and meets a literal star. Gets trained on an airship with gay Robert De Niro. Then gets to marry.
Yeah, if you didn't think that lineup of actors was big enough, also Robert De Niro's in it.
While being narrated by Ian McKellen. Also, I will say this, Blue, I would have watched the entire film if the film had started 30 minutes earlier and just focused on the princes. Just saying, I would have just watched them. The 7 princes. I would have watched that. Because that's Game of Thrones level shit I would have enjoyed.
I know, arguably the subplot was so good.
It had like 3 different subplots, all of which worked. The sword of Damocles, or like the Chekhov's gun that gets put on the wall at the very start of the series of, oh, I am a lost princess. Have a kid with me. It's like, you mean to tell me that now that kid has royal blood in them?
Ow! Ow! Thought the stream was ending because of the music. Yes, I have my end stream music in the playlist. So, thank you.
But of course, like the concept of the royals having blue blood, found it like the moment it happened, I just shouted like, "Of course they have blue! They're fucking blue bloods! God damn it!"
Oh, okay.
Also, the prince who survives up until the end, and then then by the way, a use of a voodoo doll that I never expected, but I really liked was like the thing of like, "Hello, twist your arm," and then like, "I'm gonna use you to fight this guy while I'm climbing up the stairs as an elderly old woman," and like that concept is fucking hilarious. But honestly, like as much as I enjoyed some of the princes, the prince who survived till the end was my favorite, primarily because he stabbed Ricky Gervais.
Yes, he's also in the film.
Yeah, Ricky Gervais
so many
in the film.
people in that goddamn film.
Is made to speak like a monkey by the witch, which honestly, we're all better for. The witches, like the entire concept of them is great. The fact that the stars speak to Tristan to tell him, "Get up, you have to save her. The unicorn was trying to help." And it's like, yeah, by the way, she gets saved by a unicorn at one point throughout the film. And then the unicorn gets just fucking nuked by fucking witchfire. And it's like, holy shit. All the while, the witch is losing her glamour, which she had gained from eating the last bit of a star's heart from previously, which gets alluded to in Forshaw. Again, there is no other film in this series. There does not need to be one.
Oh no, it's a perfectly contained story.
It is a perfectly contained story. Perfectly contained.
And probably if they came out and said they were making another one, I'd probably actually be angry. I'd be like, no,
Yeah.
It's good, leave it.
Yeah, you legitimately do not like. The only way you need to do it is like say, we're going to do another film in this world, 200 years after Stardust. So like they're up living happily ever after, which I will mention in a sec because again, so good. But like they could do something like that. Like it's just gonna be the world, which pirates who sail around and catch lightning in fucking jars and sell it to people as like a source of energy and magic. That's fucking dope.
I know, such a cool concept.
Robert De Niro is firstly you encounter him as like straight up he looks like he's from The Usual Suspects, where he's they're no, not The Usual Suspects, excuse me, Untouchables.
He looks like it when you first meet him. He looks like the standard Robert De Niro character. Like it literally looks like he's been typecast because it's Robert De Niro. He comes on screen, and you go, "Oh, it's Robert De Niro. We know what to expect." And then the film is literally the film literally goes, "Surprise, bitch! You thought."
Like,
and it's so good.
So, and the thing is that you do get a legitimate moment of, oh dear God, he's just fucked the main character off the thing. What's gonna say? Like, it was like, oh shit, they threw the main character. What the fuck's gonna happen to the main character? Is she about to do like some cool magical thing? And then you just see him in the captain's quarters in nothing but breeches, like in like the undergarment kind of thing, like with a little butt flap. And he's like, "I told you that worked." And then he like grabs their hands super gingerly, like an old anyone who's been at a gay bar. Like the way that like the old gay people will grab your hand to sit you down to tell you a story or listen to your story of why you're gay, like that. But he's like, "Oh, tell me everything. I want to know about all of this," and he gets like super invested. Legitimately, the most unproblematic character in the film. Legitimately, the most unproblematic.
Yep.
Also, I don't care what anyone says. In the final things at the wedding of the two characters. The two leads, because I'm going to call them both the protagonists, because they are both the protagonists. Yes, the male character saves the female, but let's be real, they're both the main protagonists.
Yeah, it's a film of fantasy tropes.
Oh yeah, without question. But the final thing is like Henry Cavill's character looks at Robert De Niro's, and they both wink at each other, and I'm like, huh. Robert De Niro, did you fuck Henry Cavill? Did you fuck Superman before he was Superman? Did you fuck Geralt of Rivia before he was Geralt of Rivia? Again, Geralt of Rivia was in this film.
Yeah.
I can't emphasize this enough. How many heavyweights they had.
There were so many heavyweights in that film.
And it was so good for that as well. the tropes. If a trope was bad, it did not last long, but it was there. It was acknowledged, and then it was thrown away. Like they could have very easily done the I am a woman who does not remember anything. Who am I? Where am I from? Where instead she's like, oh fuck, I'm a star. Fuck, I'm a person. Shit, I'm a person. Fuck, how do I get out of this? You know, like that's where she goes. Like that's no doubt she knows what she is. Like the only things she doesn't know whether or not she can or can't do are things that involve her mortal body. Like she doesn't know that when she gets legitimately happy and like her emotions run high, she glows. Her hair begins glowing, then her face begins glowing, and it's like the visual effects of it are not cheap either. They're very weird. It's like it's a bright, obvious light, but it's subtle. So it begins, and like when it gets to its extreme, unless like you just turn and she's in an extreme already, you can see the organic change of it. It's like it's like in Lord of the Rings in the second film. King Theoden was being controlled by a magical effect, and the visual effects they did, as well as the CGI they did on the actor at the time, was like a slow, subtle change for like this weary old, decrepit man. His beard faded, and like he came back, and like the visual effects began fading away on him, like so beautifully and carefully done. I was like, how the fuck did you do that? Like, of course, there's obvious ways how they did the VFX with this, but like it's so gorgeous. Everything they do. And of course, I'm a sucker for emotionally based power, as is anyone with a fucking brain cell.
Yeah, we all are.
But like the fact that it's like, oh, it's when she's happy. And then there's like moments where he's with her and it's like, she's lighting up in these moments. This is amazing. Because this is a visual lead to all of us. It's like, you don't have to question when her emotions began to build for this guy. It starts right there.
Yep.
Like you can see the moment.
The visual cue is there, and it's like, yes.
So good. And then of course, again, gay old pirate is like, sweetheart, just to let you know, this happens. It's very visual, just for your own protection, because there are people who will harm you. You are safe here, but there are people who will use you or harm you. You have to be careful with that power being shown. Again, looking out for another character, so unproblematic, so great, love him to death. And like, even the thing you could see is like a bit of Christian's flaw was like him going back to Victoria and the others, like back to the real world, to England, to be like, I'm leaving you all. Fuck you all, basically, like equivalent. Like, of course he doesn't, because he has a lot more class with it, but basically goes back to go, I'm giving you literally strands of her hair, because that's all you're gonna get, but she's so much better than you. And you can like, oh, well, that's super selfish, and that's super like egotistical, but at the same time, it's important for the narrative, because she opens like the little bit of cloth that he has with
and
her
it's
hair
literal dust.
Stardust. And then he realizes the moment she steps across that, she's going to turn. But while he's doing that, his mother, who, by the way, is fully aware, because she was just a bird sat on the witches. So a witch turns him into a mouse.
I love that trope so much. I loved it so much. Just
all of that was great. All that was so good. But
it's like, I've been a prisoner this entire time, but now my time has come. Fuck you.
Yes, where she looks at it and it's like, okay, well, she can hear everything because she's a bird. Like she like, so it's very clearly indicated that the like, it's not truly indicated that as a mouse, like, because he gets turned into a mouse by a witch to get him to a city at his request. Like they did a trade for it with a witch who physically cannot see the star person, who's I keep struggling, because whenever they said their name, they said it really quickly, or they said it without a breath. I'm like, was it Eve? Or like Even? Was it like, because she's the evening star. I believe that's what she was, and that's why her name.
Ah! Ah! What happened? What happened?
What happened?
What happened?
What happened?
Discord?
Weird.
Okay.
Discord had a fart there, because it sounded like you dropped for me and I didn't drop, because I was still in the call.
Okay.
See you, Cor.
Bye, Cor. I mean,
weird.
we're going to be ending in a sec, but carry on.
Yeah. So of course, like, you know, we all get the idea of, okay, well, it gets, like, again, this film, it does the wonderful thing of foreshadows everything, where when later things occur and happen at a faster pace, they just make sense and they don't need to be explained aloud.
Yes.
So like the thing of like, well, he finds out she loves him because she confesses it to him while he's a mouse. Because she does like a test of like, hey, can you look at me if you can understand me? And he doesn't. He looks at the cheese. So she begins monologuing to him like, again, it's the thing of like the confession of love, but also he can understand you. You're just not aware. Which then leads to the fact that the bird was listening the entire time, because the bird then knows everything, which is his mother.
Yep.
So, and it's like, oh yeah, well she can't run to help the girl, but the witch is asleep in the back of the cart. So what she does is she closes the fucking thing. It's like, well, I can't leave the witch, but I'm gonna close the door so the witch can't get out. I'm gonna get in the front and I'm gonna ride the carriage because I'm not breaking the chain that ties me to her. I'm bringing the chain with me. And it's like, you clever bitch.
Yep.
Clever, clever, clever. Love clever characters. And she goes full protective mom with this girl. Like,
I know,
like
full mom mode. Loved it.
Like, full mom mode, love it to death. And it's like, yeah, no, you're not fucking touching the kid. And then of course it's like, and the film allows us to understand that, like, again, no question about it, she is indeed the lost daughter of the royalty. And he then like confirms with him like, no, I'm your mother, that's a royal, you're a royal, you're my son, da 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 da. And she doesn't get in the way either, so it's like she doesn't try to help and be useless. But one thing I did like is that Tristan makes a comment in the film like, do you ever think I could really kill someone? Really? And he doesn't kill anyone in the film.
No.
He hasn't killed one person. And gorgeous bit of story. Just put that little in there. Love it. Really, such top tier fantasy. And yes, I nearly cried at the end when it's like, many years have passed, they have grandchildren, their grandchildren are grown, and he's going to pass, but she gave him his heart long ago, so they burn the candle, which of course the mother gave them to do. Yep. So it's enough for two. They shoot up into the stars and they live together happily ever after, and I nearly fucking cried.
It's
good shit.
It's so good.
Oh, and all of it gorgeous. And again, like, another thing that was great is that Victoria and Henry, or I call him Henry because it's Henry Cavill, we all know who I'm talking about, get brought to the wedding just to be like, nah, like, I'm royalty, fuck you. It's so spiteful, but I love it. And then of course the mother and the father get to be reunited as well, which was like a nice little touch of like, hey, you could have come to try and save her at any time, but you didn't.
It was a one-night fling for him. He didn't know the repercussions of it.
Yeah, he was also a kid.
Yeah.
Huh, your son's better than you. Good to know. And again, it's a baby Daredevil. It's baby Daredevil. And I didn't even mention the fact that with the gay pirate, it was like, don't worry, I'm going to change how you look so no one's going to recognize you. And he starts cutting his hair, and you're like, well, okay, like, it's a shitty haircut. No one's good. And like, I straight up, like, honest to fuck, was there talking, and I checked something on my phone briefly, like 2 seconds, checked on my phone, looked back up, and he had a full set of like fucking long hair. I'm like, wait, how the fuck?
I know, it's just fantasy. It's just fantasy.
It's straight up the I'm in an MMO when I just sat down at the barber's and I'm just going through
again. It was the hey, we know the stereotype 180.
And it was just. And the best part was, like, he looks good with long hair. He looks so good. But it's a film that I legitimately am like, oh, I love this to death. But I tell you one thing that would be so fucking funny is that, you know, like, you ever think about what would your characters do? Thane would cry that entire like, cry throughout that entire film. Like, you think that'd be the fucking blockbuster of the century? Because of course he would.
Gross.
Yeah, Talos just there like going, yeah, cry baby, give me a fucking tissue because I want to look cool in the corner, not because I'm fucking crying. I don't know, yeah, I don't think Talo would be the kind of person to cry to something like that, though.
No, she probably wouldn't be.
I don't imagine much that would make her cry. You know what I think?
Those tear ducts haven't been in use for a very long time.
You know what I think would end up nearly doing it? Like Land Before Time, like Littlefoot's mother.
Yeah.
Something like that. Bambi's mother. Something like that might get her.
Maybe, yeah.
But of course, like, that's obviously something that would actually be quite triggering for her, which you.
Yeah, that would. But that's why she would cry.
Yeah, but that you wouldn't make her watch, like, for example, if anyone like if this hyperbole was there, and it's like, oh yeah, no, we're not making her watch that film. It's like making fucking Leo Crow watch Up. It's like, you want to traumatize the man? Here, look at a man about to have a happy life and then his wife dies. It's like, no, don't make him watch the start of that film. That's a bit depressing. You could skip that bit. It's just a grumpy old man. You don't need to look at that first bit. So Blue,
Ugh.
11.
It is 11, so now that you've come up for air. Yeah, it's 11. We can finish up for the day. Yeah.
Look at that.
No D&D tomorrow. Don't know what I'm gonna do, but to keep up with like the algorithm and the schedule, I should do something. I don't know what. It will probably be a very spur of the moment thing. It could be a wild card. It could be Guild Wars. There's also a chance it could be Monster Hunter, because me and Spook have been doing a little bit of hunting. It could be any of those.
A little bit more FF too. Who knows?
It could be any of those things. If you want to know what it is, you're gonna have to come and watch and find out. So follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, and all that jazz. You can also follow Das. His name is right there above me. You can see it right there. Thank you so much for keeping me company. Friend, go follow them. Shower them in love. Because we love them and we treasure them as much as we take the piss. Because we're friends and we're obligated to take the piss. It's what we freaking do. Right, I'm done being mushy and gross. Get the fuck out of my art stream.
I'm already on Final Fantasy.
I'm gonna be sensible and go to bed. Right.
Bean's face.
Ow! Piss off! I love you all. See you next week. Bye bye.